I know we don't get to hear it. 15.
Kielty, plumbing, heating, cooling, celebrating 15 years of bringing comfort to you. Healing Realty, call RJ Kielty, they'll get your system working to cool you down. And if fixing a leak is what you seek, RJ Kielty service is the best around. RJ Kielty, plumbing, heating, cooling, over 50 years of bringing comfort to you.
Welcome to episode 28, Kielty's Corner. I don't know how to say my Kielty's Corner. We have Josh Weaver here, and what can I say about Josh? He is an amazing videographer. You know, he's a friend of ours. He's consistent. He's creative, and you know, we kind of both have red beards, so
yeah.
you know, we got that.
Gingers have to stay together, you know, the red beards.
He tries to keep Taylor in line, so that's a plus.
He does a pretty good job. I would say out of all the people, he does a pretty good job.
Absolutely.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So Apeshot Media. So why, actually, even before that, why did you get into like videography?
Alrighty. So backstory here.
Like, well, about that.
So my previous job, I did everything. I was jack of all trades, you know, and I did a lot of marketing, got in graphic design, photography was kind of my background in the beginning anyways.
Yeah.
I did that as a hobby. And then I took photos for an event for the chamber, for the Hernando chamber. And Nick Holmes saw those and he was looking for a videographer for the contractor. And so my wife, she was working at the receptionist office at the time. And he goes, hey, do you know any like video people or anything or photographers? And then she goes, hey, my boyfriend, you know, takes photos. He goes, did he take the ones at the event? And she goes, yeah. He's like, okay, that'd be awesome. Let me get his contact. So he contacted me and, you know, he hired me there. And it was all just to follow the contractor, which is crazy. And then a couple of weeks into it, he goes, hey, do you want to start like a media company? I'm like, that's a lot different than what we signed up for, but like, let's go for it. You know, it's going to be awesome. So we started that. We're trying to come up with a name, like a week. We're just looking, we didn't want a generic name, you know, wanted something that stuck out. And like, we couldn't like think of anything. Like this is before like ChatGPT was useful.
Yes.
Right. So I was like, you know what, Nick, what's your favorite animal? And he goes like a ape or a gorilla. Okay. I'm like, okay, we're messing around. Like, what about like Apeshot Media or something, you know, just something different, you know? And he goes, I love that, but like, let's make it like G-rated. So obviously you can market it. And okay. Like, what about Apeshot? Like you're shooting a video. And he goes, dude, we love that. So slept on it. And then we fell in love with it. I actually designed the logo.
I was just going to ask that because the logo is really cool. It's trendy, you know, something that would be correct, you know,
for what it is.
Exactly. Company, so.
Yeah. So that was like one of my first times actually doing like a full on logo for something too. So like, it took a little bit, but we got it. And then we actually updated the logo in the beginning of 2025, just to look a little more professional and everything.
He's a little beefier.
Yeah, he's a little beefier. I didn't get any beefier though, so I feel like I'm letting the logo down. So maybe need to work on that a little bit for 2025. But yeah, it's been crazy, almost 2.5 years now. So yeah.
I remember that like it was yesterday, falling around the contract.
Yep, exactly. Following along with our barn dominium builds and everything, like houses. And then our actual like first client for Apeshot was the one and only Jen Verge on one of her Remax videos. So
Jen's amazing.
Yes.
But I'm your favorite.
Absolutely, Tay. Absolutely.
We almost have too much fun working.
Too much fun. That's the whole point, right? Like you don't always have to be serious and professional like all the time during like shoots. Like you can have fun with it, you know. And
if
like
I'm honest with you, I think I give you a lot of credit for also helping me like step out of my comfort zone because if it wasn't as fun, I don't think they would be as good.
Yeah, it doesn't like, reflect well on camera, right?
Exactly.
Because like people are already nervous enough about being on camera, right? Like you bring a camera out and they're like, whoa. You know, and like you bring like something like our A camera, our huge camera, and they're like, okay, like what's going on here? You know? So if you can kind of make them comfortable with it and, you know, and make them have a good time while doing it, they forget about the camera, you know, and they're just focusing on what needs to be done and, you know, have a good time doing it. And that reflects in the video. So
We have a great time.
Yeah.
And we're working.
Yep.
And getting paid and creating content. I mean, can't get much better.
And
than
honestly, the consumer is going to see that. They're going to know who you are as a real person. People buy people.
Yep.
And you have to be serious. You have to be professional, but they also want to see a side that you're human.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
yeah, because there's a time and place, right? So there's a time and place to have the professional videos of everyone needs to have the who you are, what you do, your process and stuff like that. But there's also nowadays for sure, people want to see who you really are, you know, and humanize yourself.
Yep.
They don't want to just see the brand. They want to see, you know, who is behind that brand, right?
Yep.
So that's where these videos do great. Reels and everything, you know, those are super popular to get your views up, engagement out, and where people can actually see who you are.
Absolutely.
And then you have those professional things when you actually get leads or clients, then you can send those out to them and be like, hey, this is what we really do. And this is why you chose us.
Yep.
But you also love us because our personalities and everything.
I will say my claim to fame is the cartwheel, dude.
That
was
oh my gosh.
As soon as we did that video, it was like,
that was one of our first videos with Taylor.
Okay.
I just her smelling the roses too with the guy in the back.
Oh,
yes.
gosh, that's been quite a
That
hit
was
on the comments lately. I'm totally getting trolled on that.
That was hilarious.
They're like, it's not roses, they're peonies. Okay, guys, it's a pun.
Yeah,
we got it.
Don't take it so serious.
We had that was one of our funnest shoots.
That was a good one.
To be honest.
For sure. Absolutely.
Scares me. I tell Josh a lot of times, say I'm sorry before he goes out.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? He loves shooting with me. It is entertaining and it's not boring at all.
It depends how many energy drinks she had beforehand.
He should fund them, right? Because I feel like I do better when I have like 2 or 3.
A lot more
Red Bulls,
energetic for sure. You know.
Exactly. See, Tanner, I got to start using the business card on those.
So let's talk about like behind the scenes. So how hard? I know you start the company and then you got to figure out equipment and everything. So how hard was it to figure out what kind of equipment you needed? I know you want to buy something good too that's going to work. I know in today's day and age, even these work pretty good. You know what I mean? But talk about that.
So yeah, in the beginning when we started, I was actually using my camera for the first couple of weeks until we were able to order one. So I had a Canon R6 and it was very known to, it was great quality wise. But it's a hybrid camera, so it does video and photography, but it was known to overheat.
Oh.
So we would be shooting outside and I'd be like, hey guys, we have to wait a minute because I need my camera to cool. So that was the whole thing. But yeah, when we first started, obviously I had a little bit of knowledge about video, but not a lot, right? So I had a list. So we went through and we just ordered it, you know, off Amazon or B&H or everything. So we got a R6 Mark II, which fixed the heating issues. And we still use that pretty much as like our B camera today.
Yep.
But the biggest thing are like lenses, right? So getting high quality lenses, like one of the lenses we got, you know, our first like expensive one, we it just changed the quality of everything, right? But it was a little bit it's a longer distance lens. So I'd be filming Reagan and Nick and I'd be super far back instead of like super close, like now with our, because it was such a far lens. And then during a golf tournament, I had it for like 2 weeks. And Nick drove the golf cart and it turned really sharp and it flew off the golf cart. No. And luckily it landed on like the protective ring it had on it. And like, luckily that took all the damage. And we're like, dude, that was like a brand new lens. It was this whole thing, but it was a good time. But yeah, so getting into that is figuring out as you go, right? You're seeing what works, what doesn't. So like, we'll be shooting something like, oh, this would be a really nice upgrade to help with that, you know? And so like next shoot, you get it and you're like, oh yeah, wow, that saved a lot of time. It looks a lot better, all that kind of stuff. Drones, you know, we have a couple drones we use like on super strong winds. We have to use a bigger drone. And then when you crash a drone, like I've done with the Kielty filming before, and it exploded, you know, you have to have a backup. Yeah, it was so bad. It was our first shoot of the day for like it was the Kielty We're Around You video, you know? And I was following the Kielty van and I just veered off to the side and I had it in sport mode so I could keep up and so all the smart trackers are off of it. And nailed a light pole. And the whole thing just exploded. I broke the arm off and everything. So it took like 2 weeks to get it back, you know? So luckily we had the other drone to use for that time, but just like ruined that whole shoot. We had to reschedule and everything. So not a great time, but but yeah, so things like that happen, you know? So it's all just figuring out. And so like now, like our main camera is an actual cinema camera. Like it doesn't do photography. It's just made for video. So and it just looks great. Like the difference between like if I showed you the 2 videos between like our B camera and the A camera,
Yeah.
just the difference is
Is
crazy.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we have a film here. It's beautiful.
yeah, it's a great camera. It's super heavy. You know, I give it to people and it's like 12 pounds. They're like, holy crap, you carry this all day? It's like, yeah.
Yep.
Do you have that thing now that?
Yeah, so on certain
use it?
shoots,
Yeah.
I'll use it. We used it for a recent one, Burkett Ace. We did
Yeah.
some of their handyman ones. So I
Awesome,
use it on
man.
that. Just helps hold the weight and steady it.
Yep.
Especially in the beginning, like trying to get used to that weight, it takes a
Yeah.
bit. So it's like camera can be a little bit more shaky.
Yep.
And as you figure things out, it's like now I kind of have a good hold on it, so I don't need that as much, and
Yeah.
it's pretty smooth. But like when you're moving a lot, it helps a lot. Like
Yeah.
when you're trying to do those nice pan like walking
Yeah,
shots.
because otherwise
Yeah.
it gets off your arm or
Exactly.
whatever.
Yeah. So you can hold it on like the fly cam. So it's just this big string that comes down and holds all the weight. And like
Yeah.
I can let go of it,
Yeah.
which is super scary.
Yeah.
You got to put a lot of trust in this thing and it just floats there, you
Yeah.
know? So it does help a lot. Gimbals as well. Our gimbal that we have though only supports our B camera. It doesn't support the weight of that one. So we don't use it as much.
Yeah.
But most of our shots we can use, we don't need it. So we
Yeah.
kind of make our way around it. But
Yeah.
yeah, lighting too is a huge part, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like if we had this light off to the side off, it would look so different than what it does now. So that's
Yeah.
a big thing, figuring out that. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's a
found
lot.
out there's a lot of research. There's a
Mhm.
lot of so like how much money do you think you have in equipment, or you spent in equipment in the
it's a
last
lot.
2.5
Yeah,
years?
over the last two years is probably I mean over 30K for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And well, like vans and stuff like that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Breakdowns
yeah.
of the
What's
van.
the price
you know?
of my car?
Yeah, it's
Oh my
expensive, you know, doing
God.
all that. So and then like
But
also
you have to have it,
Yeah.
otherwise it's not
Exactly.
you're a
And
professional organization. You have to
exactly,
have
you have to
tools.
have that tool, and you know luckily you have enough clients to help pay for that, you know, to
Yeah.
help you keep upgrading and stuff, you know, go from there. But for sure, and lessons too, right? Like I take classes for cinematography and
Yeah.
everything, so you know, and those aren't cheap either, you know, so it's a lot that goes into it for sure.
Yeah.
And like especially starting off, like if I had to say right now, if you want to start off, a phone is great, or like the Osmo 3, the DJI.
Yeah.
That thing is amazing.
Oh my gosh.
It's a little gimbal on itself. It
That
comes
is
with
what
a
I
mic.
have, and I freaking love
It's
that
amazing.
thing.
Yeah. And it actually has really great quality, and you can
It
shoot in
does.
log, so you can color grade it how you want it and
Yeah.
everything. So, I mean, that's great. I take it to Vegas when we're flying to Vegas, and like, that's all I use. It's great. I don't have to carry this huge camera. I just bring this little thing, and like nobody notices it either.
Yeah.
So like, it's really like
You
I
get
can
a
bring it
little
anywhere.
less attention
Yeah, and,
walking
like,
down the strip.
Exactly. Nobody notices, you know? So it's pretty awesome.
I can imagine walking down with a big old camera. Everyone's
Yeah.
like, "What are they
Exactly. People are
doing?
kind of like, what are
What's
you doing?
happening?
But that's
Who
also
are
the thing
they?"
too, is like if you have a big camera, a lot of people don't stop you because they're like, oh, you're supposed to be here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it has like like a two-way street on that.
You can
right?
literally
Yeah.
just go to a concert and be
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, I'm part of the filming crew."
Exactly.
Just
Exactly.
let you
Oh, okay,
in.
go ahead. Yeah.
I'm not impressed.
Like-
It's cool.
I don't know about this guy.
We have some
Oh, we got some
comments. If we want to
comments.
look at our comments right now. Reagan Weiss, Josh is one talented individual. It's been a pleasure working with him and seeing his growth. Totally agree, Reagan.
I want to talk about that too after we're done with comments. But
Okay. Who's next? We
Who's
got Jackie. She says
Jackie.
Josh is amazing. Love working with him.
Aw.
fellow photographer.
Yes,
Yeah.
love working with
She
Jackie.
said-
Awesome.
It is not cheap to have good equipment. Yes.
That is
I
very
think
true.
that's what makes the difference between
Yeah. I mean, any one day I'm carrying like over $10,000 in my hand. I'm like,
that's
Yeah.
nuts.
yo, it's like this, like
No one
it's
would
so-
ever
that's a
trust
lot
me
of
with
money,
that.
right?
We'll trust you with the Osmo, Taylor. you know?
Yeah, I'm good with that. I'm fine.
It can
I
be a-
drove our drone once and I literally was like having a heart
Freaking out.
attack the whole time. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't want to be.
Once you crash
responsible
it a
for
couple
this.
times, you're like, oh, you know, it happens. And like they're pretty durable unless you run into a light pole. But like most of the time, like I have a couple of videos of like running into vines and it just falls and it's fine. You know, I mean, Reagan knows he crashed into a tree in Texas. So
I've got to.
Yeah.
I've hit a tree and I
Yep.
sunk it in the water.
Yeah.
so-
Yeah. So, you know,
Okay, so maybe I'm not doing that bad because I haven't crashed it yet.
Yeah, so you're perfect.
I'm
Well,
not
she
doing
used it
horrible.
once. And then like,
absolutely.
I mean, I went out and around a little bit, you know. And then I
It is
I brought
nerve wracking
back.
at first. For
It
sure,
is.
You know,
Especially when it's not yours.
Yes,
It's someone
uh-huh.
else's.
absolutely.
I was panicking. I was like, you guys sure? Sure.
what else we got here?
Jackie says, Josh, what would you recommend for underwater photos and videos for scuba diving?
Oof, I have no expertise in that, but
You know what, Josh? That sounds like an idea we need to
it would be really
venture.
cool.
Yeah.
But I
For
know
our plumbing
for most
side.
of the normal cameras, you know, your Canons, Nikon, Sonys, they do have underwater cases. You can actually do that seals it. So I think my buddy actually has a Sony and he did that for photography actually. And so he just bought an underwater case that like hardened, like I forget how it actually like tightens it, but like it's fully waterproof. You can
I've seen
go
those
like
on shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It had like the big orb, you know,
Yes, it does,
going
yeah.
with it. Exactly.
That's
Can you
kinda
imagine
cool.
trying to hold that though? Like all that
No.
air like pulling you up. But
I don't get that.
yeah, right.
I would have fun with it.
Super difficult. But yeah, I would definitely look, you know, B&H or something like that, and look for underwater cases for your model of camera, because I'm sure they have it. I mean, it's
Yeah.
crazy nowadays what they have for everything.
Do
So
literally anything. She said thank you.
absolutely.
You're welcome, Jackie. Thanks for watching. Sounds like a new adventure for us, Josh. I've heard the GoPros are amazing and easy to use.
That's true. Yeah, GoPros are the nice little thing too that works well.
Yeah.
Your camera quality, of course, won't be as great, but they're pretty good now.
Yeah.
And was it Go 360? I think has some really nice stuff too. They have a bunch of they have like a little pocket camera.
Yeah.
So it's like a little square like a GoPro, but it actually detaches, and you can put it anywhere. And it's magnetic, so you can put it like on your car
That's so
roof or
cool.
whatever.
Really?
It's really cool. So they have a lot of cool stuff that actually has like brought them like pretty level with GoPro or above with the stuff they've been coming out with.
Yeah.
And then they have the 360 camera, which you just walk around and you can see everything. So,
Yeah.
and you can create the video off of whatever angle you want. So it's pretty cool stuff.
I have
So,
one of those, the GoPro one, and I
Yeah.
put it on the plane or
Yeah.
whatever, and it's really cool.
That's
You can
awesome.
see,
That's really cool.
Awesome.
I like that. I want one. Reagan says Josh is also a psychologist, as you have to deal with so many insecurities of people.
Yes.
That
He
is
also
true.
has to deal with people with multiple personalities.
That is very true. It's calming people down, you know,
Yeah.
and just like I said, in front of a camera, everybody's like insecurities come out, right? It's like,
Yeah.
oh, don't look me look fat, make me look good, like all that kind of stuff, right? And you know, that's our job to make everybody look good, but it's also like part of it is like comforting them on that, right?
Mhm.
So, you know, all the time when I like take photos for people, it's like, oh, make me look good. It's like, and like they want to see the photo right after. I'm like, no, I'm not showing you. It's like I'll show you after it's edited and everything, because then
Yeah.
you're like, because I want you to see it and be like, oh, I hate that. It's just like, but then like we're gonna be here all day, like taking a photo, and you're never gonna like it. So it's also like helping people through that process too, right? So yeah, it can be a lot of everything, right? And trying to like focus on videoing while doing all that, you know, it definitely comes with expertise too, right?
Yeah.
That's why a lot of these companies do have more people that are around to help with that, right? Like you have a director, you just have a videographer, you have somebody for script, everything, right? And so
It's
it's
gonna be a jack of all trades.
yeah, and me, like I'm here by myself, and like sometimes we'll have like a second shooter to help and
Yeah.
everything. That does like help out a
Help
lot
out.
for like our bigger shoots, but like most of the time, so we can stay affordable, it's just me, right?
Yeah.
So we're out there and I'm handling it all and everything. And that's the great thing about like ChatGPT is just like it helps me like create a process for everything to help me during that shoot, right? So like
Don't I know it?
exactly. I can be like, hey, this is the vision in my mind.
Yep.
You know, how can I put that on paper so I can follow that? You know, and I know what I'm doing as I'm going on, you know, so that helps out a ton too.
So
Absolutely.
how important was it to have, in my opinion, you teaming up with such good people, you know, Nick and Reagan,
Mhm.
to be able to really show you that, you know,
Yeah.
because Reagan's obviously
yeah.
a wizard at that,
Mhm.
getting it out. That's what he does. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Make people comfortable. So
Mhm.
like, tell me about that process and kind of coming out of your shell, and you know, even Nick too, a little bit. You know, I'm sure he probably didn't want to be on the camera right away at the beginning.
Oh,
you know?
so in the beginning, Nick was rough.
Gotta make it fun.
I'll say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. He we did a shoot. It was still pretty new, and we're sitting in this field for like 40 minutes of him just trying to say these couple lines, right? And just like we're trying to think of something and it just was not working, right? And so we went from that to him being like so good on camera now, you know, like he's super smooth with it now. Like
Yeah.
I mean, Reagan's always pretty good on camera.
He's
So
alright.
and yeah, Reagan's
Stop it.
I think helps calm everyone on camera as well, right? As
Yeah.
he's doing it, because he can lead that conversation and people just flow off of that, which is great. And especially with Nick and Reagan, you have that dynamic, right? So them flying,
They're-
going off,
that's the really cool part about it. You have somebody outspoken and
Yeah.
somebody maybe
a little
that more reserved.
yeah, but he
and
has
coming
so much
together.
knowledge on building and
Yes.
everything. It's crazy. Just like the amount of stuff he just like shoots out just on the top of his head as
Yeah.
we're filming. It's like, how do you even like remember all this?
Yeah,
You know?
we could tell Nick, and he does so much different things. He has such an expanded brain.
Oh, it's
on
crazy.
everything.
Yeah, he's such a smart dude. It's
He is.
insane. And like seeing, like I love working with him because like you see like the logical side of things and how everything goes with that. So you learn a lot through that. And then you have Reagan that's a lot like creative and like super outspoken and everything. So you learn a lot with him as well. So getting that charisma up and everything, like when you're in front of camera and stuff, like me in front of camera is totally different between from me behind camera, right? So like here is all holly jolly cheery, you know, and stuff like that and everything. And then behind camera, it's serious focus, you know, like we'll be filming and like I'm so like focused on people like, are you okay? And it's like, yeah, I'm just literally just making sure everything looks good, you know, and going through all the stuff.
I get all insecure sometimes. I'll look at him. I'll be like,
yeah, she's like, is everything? I'm like, it's fine. I'm just trying to figure out like what looks good, you know? So,
and then you were able to get a lot of those coaching aspects from them.
For sure. You know, and
so otherwise it was like, that's like you said, that's being a psychologist. That's like half of your job, being able to like get people out and you know what I mean? Comfort them and hey, we need to redo this one. You know what I mean? Just hey, just you did a great job, but hey, we just need to tweak it.
It just sounded off a little bit or something, you know, and that's what I find myself catching more and more now too, is I'm able to multitask in that as well. That's why it's nice having a second person because they can actually listen to what the person is saying. It's not focused on what
their facial expression,
like what's happening, like videoing, right? The composition of the video, like because that's mostly my focus is making sure that looks good. But like now I'm listening to what they're saying, like, oh, you missed up this word, or it wasn't very energetic, or whatever we're looking for at that time. So yeah, that's been a lot of just learning as well, you know. So and like you said, it's all psychology. It's just like listening to people and just like, okay, this is how this works, or like, you know, everybody has a different personality too. So it's coming off different ways to different people. People take criticism different ways too. So you got to kind of learn everybody. And like our first like time we meet, it's kind of just figuring out how that person is, and then we go from there to form that relationship. So
we had to have a couple lunches to
get
a bond and a relationship and a familiarity with each other. Oh, we have more comments too. Reagan says people think it's all fun and games with RJ Kielty marketing, but it's a lot of teamwork to bring a 50 million plus company together. RJ Kielty has set the bar on how to market.
Yeah, I want you to. So a lot of people just see the videos and like, oh, that must be easier. They just blah blah blah. Like, let's talk about what you do. You know, working with the companies beforehand on all the planning and everything before that you could create this masterpiece. I want to talk about editing, but the most important thing is planning. How important is
so
planning?
That's hours and hours, right? So on our like super professional shoots, I mean, I work hours just coming up with scripts, coming up with how things should look, you know, storyboards, everything, you know,
just
going
angles,
through.
like you talked about the lighting.
Exactly. It's okay, what equipment do I need for that, you know? And like with Taylor and everything, we have a chat. So like it's always, hey, what are we doing this week? And then we'll go through and figure out how we want to do that, what locations we're going to pick, you know, whether that's here at the office or, you know, at a job site, you know, wherever. So it's a lot of planning that goes into it, you know, and then going from there, figuring out how we want to do it, you know, how we want it to look, you know. And then you have film day and that's hours and hours of filming, you know, so it's not just quick, easy, do this, do that. And then after,
that's what people don't realize, you take a bunch and then
it turns into a 10-second video.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. The part that gets me, you have to do that and be able to have the right mindset, the right creativity, then to take those things and put them in the small chunks.
For sure.
I joke about it all the time.
Exactly.
Because people are always like, oh, like it looks so like the videos that you post with them, it looks so easy. And I'm like, oh, if you could see the deleted cuts and how many times like it's very, we have to be, I mean, I have my good days where you guys make me, I'm just like, bam, bam. And then we have those days where like, it'll be like 10 shots and I'll look at Josh and I'll just see it all over his face. And I'm like, okay, you're right. I need to like,
so it's like lock in,
get in there.
But that's part of it. You know, not everybody has a great day every day, right? So we also have to bring that out for those couple moments, you know, so we can show that, you know, in the final product. And then it's on top of filming, it's then editing, right?
That's on top of the editing part. That's the part that,
and that's hours and
I
hours.
don't see, but that is got to be the toughest part to have. You could have, like you said, hours of film, being able to digest it, and then bring it all into small things, and then you pull stuff from months ago or even a year ago into having that mind capacity to be like, oh, I remember we did something like this. Let me pull that little clip in from there.
Exactly.
Pull that little clip,
especially with like, let's say, your company, for example. We've been filming with you guys for so long, right? We have like 2 years of footage of you
Yes.
guys, right? So for one, it's storing all that footage, and then
Yep.
also
Correct.
reminding like, oh yeah, we have that shot I can use, and go
Yeah.
back to that, and so yeah, it definitely like poor Jake, he's our editor that we hired about a year and a half ago now.
What up, Jake?
Yes, Taylor
Shout out
loves
to
Jake.
Behind the
I'm
scenes guy.
so sorry, Jake.
I can envision him in a cave, and
Yep.
you know what I mean.
He's just going away at it, and it's just like hours and hours and hours, right? Like all the hours I spend, before and filming, he's doing hours and hours behind the scenes of actually making everything look good. He's doing, all the editing, the coloring, all the audio, everything. He has to do all that, all the graphics, like all the end graphics that you see for RJ Kielty, like the water, the fire, all that kind of stuff. That's all stuff he's created, which is pretty awesome.
I actually love that.
Yeah,
So
like
thank
when I
you,
saw that,
Jake.
I'm like, that is amazing.
It's
Like that came
sick.
out so good. So there's a lot that goes to it, So yeah, it's a very time consuming process,
Yeah.
and so it's a lot.
Yeah, like you said too. Just there's so much on the front end, but like to me, that still boggles my mind how you guys could do that. You have to have, you have to be really organized. You have to be creative, but you also have to be really organized to be able to put those.
And that's a learning process on its own, right?
Yep.
So like in the beginning, like you don't have a lot of like clients, right? So it's just, okay, we have this folder, this folder, this folder, right? And it's like, okay, I know how to get to that. Okay, but then you had to then send those videos to said client. So how do we organize that so they get it with your work in progress, your finals, everything, right? So it's also creating processes for that. And then, okay, let's say 2.5 years later, how are we keeping all that footage and storing that, right? So we actually just had to upgrade our server.
I was just going to ask you, so do you keep that internal, or do you put it on the cloud? Or I know just you got to have probably terabytes, right?
Oh yeah. So right now we did have a 14 terabyte server, and we filled that up in about a year. So right now we just pretty much doubled that, and we have more space to expand it. So just for Apeshot, we have like 30 terabytes available for it. So we'll have like a separate drive for you working stuff. So like that's on a SSD, so it's faster. And then for like our backup stuff, we'll just put it on some regular hard drive, so it stores on there.
Where do you keep the bloopers?
That's all on that storage stuff. So we can make a lot of bloopers, that's for sure.
I have a joke with Josh that when I pass away, he has to make my funeral video. It's just going to be like 3 hours of like bloopers.
Absolutely. There's a lot.
Raw,
that's part of it,
unedited
though.
Taylor.
It's a good time, I mean, with every company we work with, not everybody's
fun.
perfect. It's just all a good time. So it's all bloopers and everything. So it's funny for sure.
And I think that brings the people out, because once people laugh, and people, their defense mechanism goes down,
for sure.
Their walls come down, then you know what I mean. People
Mhm.
feel a lot more comfortable.
Absolutely.
So starting out with something like that, is really, really important in my book.
For sure.
Absolutely. I remember when I first started, it took a lot. Like they'd have to like feed me scripts and stuff like that. But I feel like not even just the repetitiveness of doing it, but like building that relationship and bond with each other. It's like you guys can tell me this is the idea that we're trying to get across, and it's like I almost like can figure out how you guys are like planning it in your head, and I just go off of you guys. And now like I think that's such an important part of creating content. Like you have to have a team that like you mesh with, you get along with, you guys understand each other, you understand like the idea and the vision for it. Like you don't have to paint me a picture. You can tell me this is what I'm looking for, and I know exactly what you're kind of visioning.
And that just works where working together for so long, right? It kind of you kind of have the same thoughts as you're filming, right? It's like, okay, this is how we want this to look. Okay, I get that. Or in the beginning, it's okay, what's happening, So that happens with everybody. So the more and more you work with somebody, the easier it is, for sure.
Absolutely.
And if we have to feed line by line, we do it. And that's just how it is,
He doesn't even correct
Well, now
me
you could like, you could chop stuff up and make it look so smooth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's crazy.
So you could say
using B-roll and everything.
Yeah,
you won't even
exactly.
notice.
Yeah, pull B-roll or whatever. You could say, a sentence and then say another sentence and then say another sentence and just so
Smush it together.
smooth.
Absolutely. And that's Jake's specialty too.
Yeah.
He's gotten very good at that, So you gotta praise to Jake.
Again,
praise
sorry,
Jake.
Jake.
He's
Jake.
the man
For all
behind the
my
desk there
edits.
that does awesome. So
I want to say something too, as we were kind of talking about this. So if you are been afraid to get on camera or whatever, and everybody feels like that, right? You know what I mean? And the only way to get for you to get over it is by doing it more often.
Yep.
So don't be afraid. Even the first time getting on camera, people don't like to hear themselves. obviously. Don't like to see themselves sometimes. You are going to be more critical
Absolutely.
of yourself
For sure.
Yep.
than anybody else. And honestly, people don't. You have to have the mindset that nobody else is going to see that other than you.
Yeah.
And the more you do it, the more it's going to be easier and easier.
Exactly.
I
And you're going to be more
completely
comfortable.
Absolutely. And
I
even
hated recording in the beginning. I
It's
hated
difficult.
it. I wouldn't even like rewatch over my videos. I'd just be like, just
post it. Yeah,
I can't hear my
absolutely.
voice or see my face because and then after time, like you're right. I realized like no one cares.
Yeah, no one.
Like those little insecurities
They're
that
just
you
looking for the
see
info.
when you watch yourself.
Nobody else sees that.
People don't see it. They don't see that. Like, and honestly, now shoot, it's like second nature to me. Now I just get on there. I'm like.
Yeah, so people starting out, you can film yourself on your phone or whatever, like even practicing in front of a mirror.
Absolutely.
Because then you can see what you look like as you're doing it, right? And then don't even just judge it yourself. Like have a friend or your coworker look at it, because they'll be able to critique a little bit better than you will, right? Because like you'll, like you said, you'll pinpoint, oh, this doesn't look good, and your coworker will be like, oh, that looks great.
Fine.
Exactly. So yeah, definitely. The more you do it, the more obviously your nerves will go away and everything. So I think that's a big thing too, right? People get super nervous, so then they kind of like
they're good. They could do it. They can do it in front of the mirror, but then you get that. But like I said, that all goes away.
It does.
Everybody.
It does.
So that's kind of our job, is to make sure everybody's comfortable and at ease.
Their
so
own
it goes
skin.
Yes, exactly. So it goes because people will notice too.
Yeah. We know that when I have off days, Josh will be like, Taylor.
What's
I'm
going
like,
on?
I wasn't enthusiastic enough, was I? And you're like, no, I need like a smile or a smirk or something today. And I'm like, okay, let's do this again.
For sure.
I mean, it like, I watched like a documentary on like, Warren Buffett and stuff. And even him, he's like a very analytical guy. Those guys typically aren't, but he's like, he did Toastmasters. He knew where his faults were and he, overcame them by just doing it more. And that's all you have to do.
100%. Just getting out there and doing it.
Correct.
Because it's better than not doing it, right?
Yes.
Especially for a company.
Yeah. In this day and age, you can't afford not to.
Exactly. You will fall behind so fast.
Yes.
And think about it. You started just doing photos.
Yeah.
You just went to a meeting and took a photo. And from that, someone was like, do you want to do videography?
Yeah.
And if you hadn't just taken that chance and said, sure, why not? I mean, I'm sure in the beginning your videos probably weren't like
they weren't
best
the greatest.
ever,
I could definitely watch those back and I'm like, ugh. I'm like, especially my editing, right? Because I was editing everything myself for the first year, and just like, I'm learning it, but like it's not that great. And I knew that's how we'd get to the next level, is having an editor that actually, can really
focus solely on that.
Exactly. And that's all they're doing. So once we hired Jake, just everything skyrocketed with the quality. So
you compartmentalize, you focus on what you're good at. He focuses on what he's good at.
You have to do that, because if you put too much on one person, it's too overwhelming to do the video, going out, spending hours a day doing the recordings, then to go home, upload everything, edit everything, get it all over to them through shared files, which is a process in itself if people do not know. The whole thing is a process.
For sure.
Yeah, I think you guys work great as a team. I've had so much fun this past.
Oh yeah.
We're going almost on a year now.
It's crazy.
Friendship here, sir. I've had a great time with you guys.
Yeah.
We'll keep recording. I'm being greedy. No one else can use them.
I got two questions, but how has, and we got the Jesse over here, the Wizard of
Wizard
Pods.
of Pods is here
Wizard of
today.
Pods.
Also known as like the absolute wizard of AI.
AI, yes, he is. Seriously.
He was even telling me he's got, and I don't even know if you still do this, Jesse, or not, but he had like a country music YouTube channel, which he actually made songs that were like,
no way.
Literally, I'm like, that's like a hit right there, and it's just everything AI.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Really, really cool. But how has AI how has it, and what do you see the future of AI transforming videography, editing, and all that?
So, like I said, for me, it helps me create like storyboards and everything. So I can be like, hey, this is my vision. What shots can I use for this, and how would it look? Right. So it gives me kind of a vision of like, okay, that shot looks good. That doesn't, and I actually wrote my own like ChatGPT bot that I can use for it. So like it will go through and I can be like, hey, create a storyboard for this, and it will go through and it focuses just on that. So that's pretty cool. Video wise, yes, there's things for it, but it's still not there yet, obviously. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, Google just came out with, I think it's VEO or something like that, VO V3, but it actually added AI with sound so they can talk. And so I don't know if you saw on our Facebook page, I did, what are your thoughts on AI? And it goes to a video of him pointing at a clapboard, it claps, and it's a ape, and he goes, Ape Shot Productions, and then it ends, right? So that was all AI, which is crazy, right? So it's there, but I don't think it'll ever replace a person actually doing it, right?
Yeah.
Of course, you know, there are some things for it and there's places for it. For video, I don't know if I mean, it can get to that point where you won't notice, but I mean, there's still not that human element to it, right?
Yeah.
So
you can tell.
yeah, exactly.
Like
There's
Jesse was showing me
And
this-
then a bunch of people jump on it, and then
Mhm.
it loses its luster a
Exactly,
little bit
yeah,
on like a
for
new
sure.
trend.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
then like, but if you're a first mover on
Yeah.
stuff,
Mhm.
it,
Then
it,
it does very well,
yeah,
for
it
sure.
does very well.
But you know, it's useful. Like we love it for its audio capabilities, right? For
Yeah.
doing voiceovers and
Yes.
everything. The crazy thing is, like, I can have somebody just talk a couple sentences and then I can recreate their voice in AI, so I can use them for a speech or a voiceover for something, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Like pretty insane.
Mhm.
So that's very useful. Or like with the stuff that come out now for editing, like you can AI select people now and it will help mask them. So like when you do cool transitions where like the background fades and it's just the person, that's a lot of AI tools now, which are awesome. So for video editing, AI is amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, that's great. For shooting, not so great, you know?
Yeah.
But
Other than planning helps you
yeah,
planning,
for
but the
planning, it's
actual
amazing.
physically
Yeah.
shooting,
Yeah,
there's,
yeah.
you're not going to get rid of that.
Exactly. You're
Yeah.
not going to get the same, you know, results as if you were out there with a nice camera doing everything personally, you know?
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Everything on brand. It's not just
Exactly.
generic.
Yeah.
You know, I see a
Mhm.
lot of AI somewhat generic.
Yeah, it's all kind of template. Once
Yeah.
you
It is
see
a
it, you're like, oh, okay,
template.
that's AI. You,
Yeah,
you
that's
kind of
AI.
know, you know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
How much do you love working with me? I'm just
Love working
kidding.
with RJ Kielty.
What are your goals for like the next 5 years for Apeshot?
Oh, you
Like,
just took my question.
I
I
know.
know,
See, I'm
he was gonna
learning.
say it.
I knew he was gonna say it. That's why I asked it first.
For the next 5 years, you know, I love kind of the direction we're going is working with awesome companies and everything. You know, I'd love to. Right now, we're kind of focusing a lot more on the marketing side as well, kind of learning ads,
Yep.
Google
Yeah.
ads, Facebook ads, everything.
I think that's the next.
Yeah, it's kind of get
progression.
more and more grow in that aspect of kind of becoming an all-in-one marketing thing instead
Yeah.
of just video, you
Yeah.
know? So probably in next 5 years, we'll probably see that for sure. It's
Yeah.
kind of an actual ape shot marketing kind of thing, you know, which would be kind of cool. So
Love it.
Yeah,
but
because
for
that's
sure.
the problem. Sometimes people get that.
Mhm.
I've had this issue before. I get this content,
Yep.
stuff like that. How do you deploy it?
Mhm.
How do you
Yeah.
turn it into a
Correctly as well. So
transaction?
it's going to the
Yeah,
right people to then
Yep.
bring you back that result, right?
correct.
So that
Because
happens
you
a
could just
lot.
throw random stuff
Yep.
out there, and you might get lucky and get a lead or whatever. But like when you're actually very detailed with it
Mhm.
and drill down and trying to find your customer, it's very, very important. And
yeah,
it's the
it's tedious.
difference between that being a positive ROI or a
Mhm.
negative ROI.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, and it can be a very wide, you
Mhm.
know.
For sure. Absolutely. It's very tedious,
Yeah.
you know, doing that correctly, right? And like
Yeah.
Yep.
radius marketing to the right people, you know,
People.
using all the different platforms for ads. Like Google has their own thing and
Yep.
Facebook has their own thing. and
Everything
just-
is different.
It's just crazy, you know, and what are actually good leads versus bad leads, you know, are
Mhm.
people just kicking tires, you know, wasting your time?
Yeah.
What's a qualified lead, all that kind of stuff. It's
Yep.
very complicated, and it's something that I'm scratching the surface with. So it's a lot learning, you know. It's like, what is going
There
on?
is. That's almost like another separate
I'm like,
person.
oh wait, so there's something I can teach you.
There we go.
All right.
There we go.
Step into my world.
There we go.
I'm scared now.
Right.
What? Why do you have no confidence in me? It's crazy. You all love
We
me.
had to pick on Taylor. That's part
Yeah,
of
we
it.
I
have to.
am. I'm the village idiot apparently. So.
Jeez. So
Just
harsh
get
on herself.
stoned every week. It's no big deal.
Jeez.
Good thing I have thick skin.
So, so if you're a business and you're looking for professional videography, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so they can go to apeshotproductions.com. You can go to Apeshot Media on Facebook, 352-754-0279. It's my phone number. Call or text me. Yeah, that's
Or don't.
Prank calls.
Prank calls.
I am selfish.
Just don't throw the bananas at my van, okay? Just because it's a monkey, all right?
Yeah, boom.
That's happened to me
You
before.
just gave me
To
an
a
idea
good
you shouldn't have gave me.
Make a video.
Yeah, make a video on it. There we go.
Make a video.
Yeah.
Like Mario Kart, throw a banana out and feel out.
What a great collaboration.
You can throw a pipe wrench at her.
There we go.
Do you see what I'm talking about? See what I deal with?
Thank you guys so much for having me on. I really appreciate it, though. Absolutely.
No,
I was
yeah,
so
thank you,
excited
Josh.
for this one.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, my buddy gets to come on for
Right.
once. We're
Instead
recording
of-
you.
Yeah, I know, right?
He
Instead of me
gets to be
behind
on
the
the
camera. It's a rarity.
Yep.
Oh, I love it.
Yep.
Full circle.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you.
So 28
Thank you,
guys.
Jesse. Wizard of Pod.
Yes, Wizard of Pods over there.
We love Jesse.
Thanks,
too.
man.
Wizard of Pods, Wizard of AI.
Yes. Have a good one, guys.
We're out.
All right, guys. See you later.
Peace.